all Renegades of Puck to the trenches. It's time for Renegades of Puck TV. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. Welcome to the bunker. A unique hockey experience, the essence of no half-stepping right here on Renegades of Puck TV. We sure do appreciate you jumping in the trenches with us and talking all things Nashville Predators hockey. This will be your briefing for the Nashville Predators' first road trip of the year. More details coming up here in just a moment. Remember, renegadesofpuck.com is your one-stop shop for all things related to the Renegades of Puck. You can even find links to our merchandise, which I have marked down right now for the next couple of days. So go ahead and get yourself those Renegades of Puck logo t-shirts by going to renegadesofpuck.com and clicking on the merch link and all of those social media platforms. Need you guys to be following. You're doing such a good job. The last couple of days, we've really started to see some gains in each and every one of the metrics out there. When it's all the Renegades against the algorithm, we are going to find a way to beat it. We're going to find a way to win. So keep giving us those follows on Twitter and those likes on Facebook and, of course, our Twitch live stream. Right now, we are rolling, doing a live briefing right now on Twitch. So make sure you're following us. It's a different perspective. It's a totally different point of view. It's a behind-the-scenes view. It's a raw view, and you get absolute bonus content. And when we do make mistakes, which doesn't happen very often right here in the bunker, you get to see each and every one of those like we had earlier in this particular intro and setup. A whole bunch of different ways you can get and interact with the Renegades of Puck, and also you can become a partner of the Renegades of Puck like so many of our great sponsors already. I am so pleased to have a partnership with Rebirth Sports. Look at the jersey that they have made for the Renegades of Puck. Every jersey I've ever gotten from Rebirth Sports is just simply incredible. They hold up well, they wear well, and they look absolutely amazing. Don't forget about Stripe Digital and Design. They have made everything here in the bunker possible. This logo has been designed by Stripe, helping us keep everything going right here, helping us get the grievance line up and running. And of course, Strong Style Fit. We are so proud to be involved and partnered with Strong Style Fit. On demand and live personal training. You can find all of those on YouTube and in other formats. It is a great service and it is out there and it is totally free for you, totally donation based. That is Strong Style Fit. You too can become a partner. Not just businesses, but individual Renegades can be partners of the Renegades of Puck. Just go to Venmo and search Renegades of Puck or scan the QR code that's on your screen right now, and you can go ahead and donate. Even $1 helps the Renegades keep the lights on and keeps us moving forward. So we sure do appreciate each and every one of you, especially you, that one benefactor that has made a couple of donations to us already. Stick taps to you. That is an awful lot of love and an awful lot of respect and an awful lot of indication of exactly why we should keep jumping in the trenches each and every day. Your support makes it happen. So we sure do appreciate you. We're not going to go on a telethon yet, but I am thinking about a Renegades of Puck telethon one day. I'm thinking about a Renegades of Puck cookout. I'm thinking about Renegades of Puck everything. So get on the grievance line. That is your other opportunity to get in touch with us. You can dial that number up 24 hours a day, 615-640-0916, 615-640-0916. Leave a message, totally anonymous. You can say anything you want. Go ahead and vent. Are you mad about the Preds 1-3 start? Are you mad about Ellie Tolvanen getting only 10 minutes of ice time? We got a couple of voicemails since the last time we were on here, Renegades of Puck TV. So we sure do appreciate you jumping on the Renegades of Puck grievance line. Remember, we're going to let those voicemails collect up just a little bit. We'll put together a compilation and we'll use the best of them right here on Renegades of Puck TV. So looking forward to hearing you in your voice with your opinions, Renegades, because after all, how often does anyone actually give you an opportunity to talk about the Nashville Predators? Any of those big media stations giving you the chance? Do they even take phone calls anymore? Well, guess what? The Renegades of Puck do take phone calls, and we want to hear from you. So jump in the trenches with us. Get on that grievance line. Let me give you the number one more time, and it's been on the screen the whole time anyway. 615-640-0916. Let me hear your voices, Renegades. Let me hear the fire. Let me hear the fury. Let me hear the passion. Let me hear what's on your mind, Renegades. Even if it's the middle of the night, give me those late night thoughts about the Nashville Predators. All right, everybody, listen. We've got to get into this briefing. We got to get you in. We got to get you out. It's going to be an intense weekend of sports all across the landscape, but most importantly, with the Nashville Predators' first road trip of the season. They will be in Winnipeg, of course, to take on the Jets. First time this season, these two rivals are meeting, and then immediately head off to Minnesota to take on the Wild. So back-to-back, less than 24 hours. That means UC Saros will get one one game, and we will more than likely see Connor Ingram in the second game. Now, how John Hines intends to deploy them, we don't know. He has been a bit of a question mark when it comes to back-to-back scenarios. We've seen him just play Saros straight on through, but this time of the season, I do not think it would be appropriate to play UC Saros for both games. They have a long week coming up with a couple of days off. You go ahead and get your backup goaltender in for the first start of the season. And then the Preds Tuesday, they face off against the San Jose Sharks at Bridgestone Arena, and then all the way till Saturday when the Islanders come to Bridgestone Arena, and then headed off to one of those dreaded long late-night West Coast road trips on the 2nd of November is when that will start in Calgary. They'll follow that up the next night in Edmonton, and then it goes on, and it goes on from there. We're going to have a lot of late nights coming up, Renegades. I'm going to need you to go ahead and make sure you start planning accordingly for those. For the Nashville Predators, now we played 4 games on the season. The Preds are 1-3. They've got 2 points. That has them sitting 5th place in the Central Division. They have a record of 0-0 on the road, so this will be their first road game of the season after starting 1-3 on a 4-game homestand. Tonight, they will take on the Winnipeg Jets, who have also played 4 games. They are 1-2-1. They have 3 points on the season, are 1 point ahead of the Nashville Predators. St. Louis, after just the first week of the season, leads the division with 6 points. Minnesota is also at 6 points, and that will be the Nashville Predators' next opponent. Now, for the Preds and the Jets, we have seen these two teams go at it so many times before. This season, they will play a total of 3 times. This will be the first one. It will be December the 21st when the Preds will face off against Winnipeg here at Bridgestone Arena, and then again on the 20th of January, the Nashville Predators will face off against the Winnipeg Jets again at Bridgestone Arena. So let's take a look at the Jets' most recent action since starting the season. They've played 4 games. Let's go ahead and recap all 4 of those in the briefest way. It was on the 13th of October and a 4-1 loss at Anaheim. Then they followed that up on the 16th with a 4-3 loss at San Jose, and then it was a 6-5 overtime loss at Minnesota. So opening up the season with 3 consecutive road games, only picking up 1 point. Then they would come home and face Anaheim again, pick up a 5-1 victory, and that was their most recent game. Hellebuck in that game, 38 of 39, and then in some scheduling anomaly on Tuesday, the next game for the Winnipeg Jets is again the Anaheim Ducks, this time in Anaheim. That will be the 3rd time Winnipeg has played Anaheim to start the season. Taking a look inside the numbers for these two teams, when you look at goals for, 3.50 for the Winnipeg Jets, that is 11th best in the NHL, but giving up 3.75 per game, that's 25th in the NHL. Shots for the Winnipeg Jets, 28.5 is 27th in the league. 34 is 23rd. And on the power play, they are 3 of 16 on the season at 18.8%. That's 18th best in the NHL. They have the worst overall penalty kill in the NHL at this time. They have only managed to kill off 10 out of 18, 55.6%. So the numbers for the Winnipeg Jets are not very attractive in a hockey sense. And the Nashville Predators numbers, goals for, some of these look even less attractive. Only 2 goals per game through 4 games, and all 4 of those games were on home ice. It's just simply not good enough. That's 28th in the NHL at 2 goals per game. Goals against is 2.75. That's 19th at this point. Shots for, 32.5 is 15th. Shots against, 28.5 is 5th. The Nashville Predators power play has converted 2 times on 11 opportunities, or 18.2%, 19th overall ranked in the NHL. In the penalty kill, after looking like it was going to start the season the same way it had last season, it turned around very quickly, and you're seeing some very solid performances from the PK units. 10 out of 12 on the season, now 83.3%, 14th best in the NHL. Do have a couple of injuries to report on. It's actually good news for the Nashville Predators. Olivier has been activated from injured reserve. He's been sent down to Milwaukee on conditioning. Hopefully he will be back and ready to be a part of the herd line soon, adding another player with that much sandpaper, that much grit, and frankly, he brought some skill to the ice last year too. It wasn't just what he could do on the physical side of things, so it would be great to have him back, and then for the Nashville Predators to get Riddick off of the COVID list. Their backup goaltender that they went into the season with still has not had an opportunity to make a start. That's why Connor Ingram more than likely will get a start over the weekend for the Nashville Predators. Injuries, when you take a look at the Winnipeg Jets side, Blake Wheeler is out due to COVID. Scheifele also out due to COVID. So 2 very big names out of the lineup for the Winnipeg Jets. But on the early part of the season, at least, these 2 players that you are very familiar with being at the tops of the stats for the Winnipeg Jets are not a factor yet. So them being out of this particular game against the Nashville Predators might not be as big a deal. So statistically for the Winnipeg Jets, Connor right now has 7 points. That breaks down as 5 goals and 2 assists. Kopp's at 3 goals and 2 assists for 5 points. And Dubois, 2 goals and 1 assist for 3 points. Hellebuck's gotten every single start this season. He's 1-2-1 with a 3.75 goals against average and an .890 save percentage. The stats for the Nashville Predators, UC Saros has played very well. Listen, the first goal against the New York Rangers was not the toughest goal. He could have maybe stopped that one, but he's played very good. But a record of 1-3, a 205 goals against average, a .928 save percentage. I look forward to Nostradamus wrapping up the weekend when he rejoins us a little bit later. Granlund is leading the team in scoring a goal and 3 assists. That's good for 4 points. Johansson's at a goal and 2 assists for 3 points. And Philip Forsberg has a goal and 2 assists for 3 points. For the Nashville Predators, it's fairly simple. Their offense needs to start generating on a more consistent basis, and their top players need to perform as their top players. Eeli Tolvanen only getting 10 minutes per game the other night against the New York Rangers is simply not good enough. I don't know what the message was that was being sent. Eeli Tolvanen looked like he was shot out of a cannon in game 1 of the season, was generating numerous offensive opportunities, and looked like he was picking up right where he left off last season. I understand wanting to and maybe needing to shake up the lines just a little bit, though I disagree as quickly as the Preds have started making roster shifts and line shifts all around. Give these players a little bit of time to develop. We started banging the desk and screaming about Philip Tomasino being taken out of the lineup after 1 game. Now he gets an opportunity to get back in, and look at what he was able to do. Now imagine what he can do 5, 10, 15 games of experience and chemistry with a particular set of line mates. That's what Eeli Tolvanen needs right now. Moving him down to the 4th line the other night, only skating him 10 minutes, that is not where his development in the NHL is at. He got a pretty good contract to be a goal scorer and to be a top 6 forward in this league. So whatever the message was, I sure as hell hope you got it sent, delivered, whatever you needed to do, and he's back playing top minutes because that's exactly where he needs to be. Other than that, passing has been quite an issue. Sean C. Smith has laid out a lot of evidence, and we've seen it in the statistics backing that up, about how the Preds' passing has not only been not crisp, it's not been very good at all at times. It's leading to too many giveaways. It's leading to too much possession in time of ice against on the Nashville Predators, and they're getting pinned in their own defensive zone by making bad passes on clears. Sean's done a great job of bringing you the intel and letting you know exactly what's been happening with that. He's been doing that live from Bridgestone Arena. I can't thank him enough for all the hard work he has been doing. Brian Baston as well, Nostradamus, the Ultimate Predator, everybody who's been jumping in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck has been simply incredible. Now, I do have Sean C. Smith for just a minute to give me a preview of what's coming up with the Nashville Predators' first game of the season, first road game of the season in Winnipeg. Sean C. Smith, go ahead and take it away. I can't wait to hear your thoughts.
Thanks, Charlie. Sean C. Smith here again, and I want to talk to you a little bit about a few things before the Predators take on the Winnipeg Jets. Now, normally I've been talking to you about things I see at the games or when I'm watching the games from home on TV when I can't be there to cover them in person. And what's interesting is that while there's a lot I can notice from game to game and what's going on the ice by paying close attention to those things, there are also some trends you notice over time. And one of the things I want to talk to you about today is lines. Everybody likes to talk about lines. They like to discuss who's getting the most ice time, who's playing with who's on the first, second, third, and fourth line. And while it is important that we know who's playing on each line from night to night, what's more important to head coach John Hynes is identity. John Hynes has talked about all the way since the return to play in the bubble in Edmonton about lines developing an identity. Now, here's the fun thing. If I said who played on the 4th line, you would probably be able to tell me. And the reason you'd be able to tell me is because the 4th line has developed a very, very strong identity. The 4th line plays hard hockey. They're in your face, on the puck, and shoving you up against the boards. Everybody thinks about Tanner Jeannot basically steamrolling Drew Doughty the other night against the Kings, and why wouldn't you? It's an incredible moment. And that's the type of thing you expect from the 4th line. And because they've developed an identity, you know exactly who's playing on the 4th line. But if I asked you about the first 3 games and I said who played on the 3rd line, you'd have a much harder time being able to tell me. The last very memorable 3rd line the Predators have had, at least in my opinion, has been Rocco Grimaldi, Nick Bonino, and Craig Smith. And we all know that 2 of those 3 guys aren't even with the Predators anymore. One of them's not even with the team he was with after he was on the Predators. So it remains to be seen who's going to emerge as the new third line and which grouping of players is going to develop that identity. But what I will say is I saw something very interesting happen in the game against the Rangers. First and foremost, we saw Yakov Trenin move from the fourth line up to the second line. Now, we'll talk more about Trenin later, but I want to talk about what that made move around and all of that jigsaw puzzle that is the lineup for the Predators. So once Yakov Trenin moved up, that meant somebody else had to move down. And what happened was Nick Cousins, who'd been the most regular participant on the third line, moved down to the fourth line with Colton Sissons and Tanner Jeannot. Now, let's talk about that. Really like Nick Cousins playing on the fourth line with those guys. While he's not as big as Trenin, he definitely likes to get dirty. He likes to get under people's skin. He's a sneakier kind of I don't want to say dirty. He's a sneakier kind of power player than I would say Trenin is. Trenin's a giant. He's in your face. Cousins is under your skin. And that's a whole new element on the fourth line. Now, because of this movement on the third line, someone had to fill in and take that place. Well, of course, that was Eli Tolvanen moving down from the second line down to the third line, which allowed Nick Cousins to move from the third line into the fourth line and Trenin up to the second line. It's a lot of numbers, and I know that. But what that did was it put Eli Tolvanen on the third line, centered by Tommy Novak, with Philip Tomasino on the other wing. Now, what you see there is similar to what we had kind of hoped for when we were talking about Cody Glass playing center with Philip Tomasino on his wing. You want to see the future of the team develop that chemistry on the ice every night at the NHL level. And we had hoped for it with Glass, but the team in Glass agreed that Glass needed to step down to Milwaukee for a while, and that's okay. They brought up Novak in his place. Now, moving Tolvanen in with them was something I kind of hoped would happen, and a lot of people might grumble that it's on the third line where you're seeing Eli Tolvanen get his minutes. That's okay. Let's not worry about that. Let's worry about the fact that they're building chemistry. Those three can build identity as a youth line. You have two elite scoring wingers on each side of a dynamic playmaking center. This is what we want to see. I assure you that if we keep seeing this, you're going to see them develop a lot more chemistry and hopefully develop that identity that John Hines so desperately wants for each of his lines, and we haven't seen on the third line in a while. Now, we said we'd talk about Yakov Trenin on the second line. Yakov Trenin in training camp looked incredible. He looked like he was in the best shape of his life, and while other guys the first few days still looked like they were getting back into being on the ice all day and skating up and down quickly, Trenin never looked like he was tired or out of breath. He looked the best he'd ever looked, and he even put on a clinic in some really fancy scoring stuff while he was on the ice. Now, last season, Trenin, playing on the fourth line with the rest of the herd line, made the comment, and this is in an interview, said that this was the style of hockey he was being asked to play. And a lot of people didn't really think much of it because they figure he's speaking in his second language and maybe he's just saying something to say something, but I think there's more to it. I think Yakov Trenin has a lot of offensive upside that hasn't really been explored because of his role on that identity herd line on the fourth line. Putting him on the second line with Luke Kunin and Mikhail Granlund gives him much more skillful playmakers that he can play with. And I like what he brings to that second line because it's a big, strong element as opposed to just skill. So you're seeing the big, strong guy up there who also has some flashes of offensive brilliance, playing with a skilled playmaker like Mikhail Granlund, and a guy on the other wing, Luke Kunin, who can get the job done as well. And Kunin's not afraid of the rough stuff either. So all in all, and I know it's been a bit long-winded and more than normal for me today, I think we're starting to see some line changes. I don't want to say it's the line blender, but I think you're seeing Coach Hines try to move things around and find an identity for his lines. Keep watching the games and see if that's how it plays out. But I think that's where we're headed, and I think we're headed in the right direction. Now, before I go, I want to talk about something else that's very near and dear to my heart. I want to talk about Pred's money on the board. Pred's money on the board was an idea I got from Bonks Mullet, a guy who works for the Ottawa Senators on the not on the Forecheck, but SB Nation page, one of on the Forecheck sister sites. And what he does is called sends money on the board. And basically what you do is you make a pledge for a certain event to happen in a given game. For example, with the Predators, maybe you say, every time Philip Forsberg scores a goal tonight, I'm going to donate $9. I'm going to pledge $9. And what this does is it raises money for charity. The charity that Preds money on the board, which is something I started, is playing for, of course, is the Preds Foundation, more specifically for the 365 Fund, which is the charitable group started by Shea Weber and Pecorine that benefits children's cancer research. So it's a great cause. The money would never, ever come to me. We actually donate directly to the Preds Foundation. But through Preds money on the board, with a lot of people placing bets on sports and things like that, this is a way to do that without possibly losing a bunch of money. You may lose some money, but you'll be sending it to a charity and it will be a tax write-off as well. So if you're interested in that, you can check it out on Twitter at Preds MOTB. There's a link to a form there that will allow you to make those pledges. Now, we won't do that for every single game, but we'll do it for a lot of them. We did it for the first few games, I think the first 3 this season, and we're going to take a couple of games off. But look for it on Twitter, follow the account. I'll also always be tweeting about it. The Renegades will tweet about it. On the Forecheck will tweet about it. Pretty much all of the Nashville media outlets that I can get in touch with and convince to retweet it will be tweeting about it when it's time. So if that's something you'd be interested in, we're trying to raise a lot of money for the 365 Fund this season, and I'd really like to see everybody get involved, challenge each other, tag your friends, and have a lot of fun with it. So that's all I've got for today. I'm looking forward to the game tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing how those lines are and watching what develops, and I hope you'll watch that with me. So I'll talk to you next time, Renegades. And Charlie, I'm going to send it back over to you.
All right, that was Sean C. Smith from ontheforecheck.com at SCSOTF, at SCSOTF. He's got the intel that you need to know, and he's been on the front lines for us at Bridgestone Arena all season long, along with Brian Baston, who runs the Renegade Analytics Desk, and, of course, the Ultimate One and Nostradamus. All those guys will be jumping in and out over the weekend, doing different roles, different coverage, different parts of covering everything involving this Nashville Predators back-to-back. For us in the trenches, Renegades, what we're going to do is after this briefing, what we will have is a debriefing combined with the next briefing tomorrow night. So just about 24 hours from now, I expect you to be back in the trenches right here with me, your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Sonia. I can't thank you enough for joining me here on Renegades of Puck TV. After just a week, we've come so far. We didn't know what we were doing at all just a few weeks ago. We built this thing with our own hands, built by Renegades for Renegades, and it is already gaining so much momentum and so much steam. It is unique, isn't it? No Half-Steppin' is a certain brand that you just start to get into your blood, and it starts to become a part of your daily life. So make sure you're doing the right things. Being no half-stepping is about being a force for good, people. Help somebody out tomorrow. Give somebody a compliment, say something nice, and let's have a fantastic weekend of Nashville Predators hockey. I can't thank each and every one of you enough. Keep liking, keep subscribing, keep passing the word around. The Renegades of Puck are in the trenches, and we are here to deliver the goods. Listen, the mediocre milquetoast men with microphones are no longer safe when it comes to Nashville. They allowed this to happen by not covering this topic as well as they could have and as well as they should have. So I expect each and every one of you Renegades to let them know you are dissatisfied with what they've done by supporting what we are doing. The more support we get, the more we can grow, the more hockey we can bring you. We don't want to just cover one thing, one team, one at a time. We want to start branching out. We want to get correspondents all over the hockey landscape. So remember, if you're out there, Renegades, and you got a hockey story to tell, Queen City Squirrels, where are you at? I guarantee you're playing in some pond hockey tournament right now. Get some video of that. Talk to me. Tell me the story. Email it. renegadesofpuck@gmail.com. Anyone. You can be a hockey correspondent right here. This isn't about having some media degree or being some professional type. This is about passion over perfection, Renegades. And I want you in the trenches. I want you to tell us your hockey story. Tell us about your rec league team. Tell us about your high school team. Tell us about your college team. Tell us about the street hockey game that's been being played in your neighborhood for the last 20 years. We want to know about it here on Renegades of Puck. This is not just about hockey. This is about hockey culture and hockey life. It's about the passion. It's about the fire and the fury. It's what this great game creates. I love each and every one of you. I sure do appreciate you jumping in the trenches with me. I am your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. Stick taps, love, and respect. Oh, yeah. And happy birthday to me. I made it one more cycle around the sun. I love every one of you.